The following is a list of Moors who have been kidnapped and are being held for a demand of income. The demand of income is being made by against the family, as well as through fraudulent submissions of documents alleging that they are caring for the people in some sort of long-term care fashion. These Moors have been kidnapped literally off the street by employees of various corporations that are guised as county, city, town, township, borough. These names that we have all been mentally conditioned to believe are government are not. They are exactly what they say they are. They are municipal corporations. And as such, if you do the research, you will find that they are foreign corporations on American soil. Therefore, they do not have standing nor jurisdiction to make a demand of income from the Aboriginal Indigenous people or any people on American soil. This making their actions criminal. However, as Moors, we must bring these crimes to the forefront via civil complaints against the unalienable constitutional treaty secured rights of the people, Aboriginal Indigenous Moors of this land. So we start out with our sister Abkare Bay, who was kidnapped through a joint venture between Memphis Corporation and Shelby Corporation under the purview of Tennessee. Now, we say under the purview of Tennessee, which is a union state, because every union state is bound and obligated to protect the people from foreign and domestic invasion. We then have Dawood Hill under the purview of Arkansas. And if we don't have the municipal corporation that actually did the kidnapping, then we just reference the union state that is bound and obligated to protect the people. We have Amir Moslemi Il and Kusu Ra Kushbe under the purview of Missouri. We have Asar Patan Amin Rabe under the purview of Ohio. We have Jeremy Taylor Il, Terry Thorne Bay, Jamie Cal Brooks Bay, Joseph Conaday Il, Kush Amir Bunch Il, Emmanuel Billings Bay, Yassin Khalik Alamin Il, Michael Curry Bay, all being held under the purview of North Carolina. Noble Crystal Il under the purview of New Jersey. Messiah Aziz Il and Crystal Il, both kidnapped through a joint venture between Mercer, Freehold, and Trenton Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. We're still waiting on an update of the infant baby of Patricia Bay, which was kidnapped by the Atlantic Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. We have Eldridge Teron Fisher Il and Marquis Sevion Il under the purview of Indiana. Solomon Il Bay and Mumi Abu Bay under the purview of Texas. William Garrett Il under the purview of Virginia. Bomani Agidwil Il, kidnapped by the Chesapeake Corporation under the purview of Virginia. Chere Bay, kidnapped under the purview of West Virginia. Thomas Lee Bay, kidnapped under the purview of California. Victor Eduardo and Valle Juarez Il, kidnapped by Harlem Corporation under the purview of Georgia. So there we have Moors that have been kidnapped and are being held hostage by employees of various corporations on American soil, which is a violation of the American Constitution, and it is a treaty violation. And being that we are talking about Moorish Americans, Aboriginal Indigenous to this land, who are being kidnapped by foreign employees of a foreign corporation on American soil, this makes this an international issue because you have two nations with one nation warring against another. Therefore, this is an international issue. If you have a family member, near or far, in your immediate family or one of the family that you know and you would like them added to this list, please send an email to MHHS-Eyes-Wide-Open@gmail.com. In the subject line, put kidnap more, and please provide us with your free national appellation, the municipal corporation that the employee is operating through that kidnapped them, along with the union state that this corporation is in purview to. All righty? Thank you very much. All right, Islam. Wow. That recording, I don't know what happened to the sound on that. I am definitely going to have to redo that and upload it again. Welcome to more MHHS-Eyes Wide Open. This is your host, Anita Ill, along with my co-host, Ms. Raheem Aleph Ill.
Peace and love, Anita. Peace and love to all Moors, everybody.
Peace and love. All right. And Rosmariah Bay.
Islam, peace and love to all.
All right. And let's see, we don't have Cujo tonight, but we do have another special guest that will be commenting in on the subject matter. Abdullah Mosley Talib.
Mosley Bay.
Oh, that's what is really good.
Yes.
And he hasn't pressed one yet, but I believe he is in. Abdullah, if you're there, press 1. I know he's there. There he is. All right. Islam. All right.
Wow, brother Dully.
All right.
Peace.
Yes.
Hold on. Before we even go in, I just got to make one announcement, and I got to ask this question now. All right, so for the record, we started another YouTube page as far as a publication outreach. It's called Mantis Views 29. All right, and Brother Dully, I sent you a link earlier today. I forgot. I didn't have in mind that you was. Yeah, did you get it?
I got the link, but I got so tired. I was so tired up to die to get a chance to. I do have the link. I'll check it out tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I did get the link.
All right, so I'm just going to put it on the record right now. I'm trying to get you on there. We're going to get you on there, just for the record.
Oh, yes. Your mother talked to me about that the other day, yes, and I was meaning to get back to you. You know, yes, absolutely.
Islam. All right, that's peace.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to jump right. Before I do that, I just want to send a big shout out to our family listening over in Great Britain. Islam, we got the Great Britain, the Moors near the Great Britain Corporation in the house, Islam. Family listening over in South Africa, Islam. Family listening near the Japan Corporation, Islam. Family listening over near the Netherlands Corporation, Islam, Brother Albert Zet. Let's see, family listening over near the Philippines Corporation, the Mexico, Venezuela, Brazil, Cuba, and to family we have yet to connect with. Thank you so much for joining us every week, listening, sharing, commenting, holding it down in the chat room.
And although we don't have Cujo with us tonight, we have the family in Canaan land, which is the same continent, but we gotta shout out to them. All right.
Yes. Oh, and also, just to update, there was 2 other moors that I didn't get a chance to add to the list, and I'm definitely going to have to do that. Or we have Brother Natural Tahuti Ill, kidnapped by Benner Township under the purview of Pennsylvania, and Brother Rennie Ill Bay, or Brother Rennie Bay, kidnapped by Hamilton Corporation under the purview of or province of Ontario and Canada. All right, so they'll be added to the list, and I will definitely make sure that I check out what's going on with that recording. It shouldn't have sounded that crazy, but it'll be corrected next week.
One last thing, though. I just want to say this before we really go in and Dooley goes in. I just want to say tonight is different, fam, because I tell you, I called in relatively early, and the lines were full. But tonight it gave me an alternate number to call, even though all the lines were full.
Really?
So, real facts.
They
so
must be having some problems. They must be having some problems. But I didn't get any notice of that.
Yeah, we wrote the number down.
Yeah, I wrote the number. I texted you the number, and Ada. I texted you the number.
Yeah, but they don't say. What they say is all the lines are full. Call this number. And then they give us another number to call. So I thought it had to do with you had said before they were going to be changing the number. Maybe this is part of that process to do so.
No, that's not the number. The number they changed it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're having some system issues, but usually if there's a technical issues, and usually when there's a technical issue, I get a notice, and I didn't get that. So maybe something's going on that they don't quite know about yet. I don't know. But I'm glad to see everybody got in somehow.
Yeah, they gave
Should we state the number that we called in on, or just for those who are listening?
Well, I'm gonna have to. When we get off, I'm gonna have to call and find out. And if there is a change, if there is a change to the number, you can check the MHHS-Eyes Wide Open Facebook page. You can check RV Bay Publications. And if I have you on email, you'll get an email notification, also a text message notification. There. And for those people, just want to let everybody know, MHHS-Eyes Wide Open Facebook page, it's a public page. You do not have to have a Facebook account to view it, all right? And, of course, there's always rvbaypublications.com. So check if the number did, in fact, change. Check one of those areas. Check your email if we have your email, or text message if we have you on text blast for any changes in the telephone number. But I also want to send a big shout-out to our callers calling in every week, even though it was kind of crazy today, filling up the lines before the show even began. With that, I just want to jump right into the subject matter, because we got Dooley to talk about this particular issue, and, his time is limited. Today's broadcast is entitled Reparations? ? And then the definition of reparations out of the Black Law 4th edition dictionary, page 1462, reads, the redress of an injury, amends for a wrong inflicted. That's the definition of reparations. Now, there is and has been much talk regarding reparations to the Aboriginal Indigenous people of the land, or has there been? Recently, it was brought to my attention that there is an alleged discussion being planned or in action by the United Nations, a corporate organization, to give to African Americans reparations. what is an African American, and what nationality and national family is that? As the Aboriginal Indigenous people of the land, who would be giving the reparations, and what exactly would it be? Key question in my mind to ask is, who would be giving out the alleged reparations, and how are they qualified to do this? Is this being orchestrated by foreigners, and how can a foreigner speak to the Aboriginal Indigenous people about reparations? Now, in truth, this issue has already been addressed, and you will discover how in the definition of reparations and the many affirmations already published by the United Nations, such as the United Nations Rights of Indigenous People and many more. Wake up, you sleepy-headed Moors. It's past time to act on what has already been affirmed. However, due to lack of study, thereby information, Moors are still asking for what has already been returned, hence the empty discussion of reparations.
Yes. And you know something? You hit it on the head when you said there are rights. First of all, we know we have rights of birth, and rights of indigenous people, they're already there. That's why it amazes me how they keep marching to the United Nations. And I'm like, what are they asking for? It's already been established. I think, from my view, as we need to start being who we are and remove that veil of asking permission or expecting someone to care. That is really what I see. And so Prophet Muhammad Ali, he said, listen, I came to teach you to be yourself. So with that being said, the other question is, who would be giving reparations and what nation? Because African American is not the nation. Now, if our people fall for that, or if our people who still allow themselves called everything except for who they are, fall for that, that's another whole issue. But that's not really reparations. And I know that Dooley has a great comment on that, because it was one of the last questions we did last week at class. We asked him about it, and he had a great response. So I don't know if you could refer to him now, or Ms., did you have a comment prior to him getting involved?
Hold on, say that again. I apologize. No, I
think we should defer. I know that Julie gave a wonderful at the end of the class last week, gave a wonderful information regarding that. So I don't know whether we should go ahead and let him speak on that now, and then you can comment afterwards or later.
Yeah, because I know Brother Dooley's time is limited. My ears is open.
Let's do that.
Ears and eyes wide open.
All right.
Islam, yeah. So, Brother Dewey, it would be most informative if you enlighten us and our listening audience on this whole reparation farce.
Islam, yes. The question I would pose, to start off is, why do our people, those who are in what they call the quote-unquote black conscious group, African American or reparation movement, why do they push that as an issue? What is the political motive of the Europeans pushing that to our people? What are the Europeans actually suppressing? So the question. Now, we know that most of our people do not know that they are an Aboriginal indigenous to the land. Most of our people are been told. Now, let's look at the race and ethnic standards of federal statistics and administrative reporting. All right, and there's five classifications. Let's look at two of the classifications. The race and ethnic standards of federal statistics and administrative reporting that was adopted by the Office of Management and Budget in 1977. Now, they have the classification for American Indian or Alaska Native. Let's look at the definition. The definition for the classification American Indian or Alaska Native: a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North America. that sounds like us. All right, that definition. Now let's look at the classification for black. All right, let's look at the definition. A person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. Now our people, millions of our people, all right, have been conditioned through social engineering, European social engineering, to falsely believe that we were transported what is now known as the continent Africa to the America, North America, Central America, South America, and the Joint Islands. That we were transported by the Portuguese, the Spaniards, the French, the Dutch, and the English from 1500 to the 1800s. That is the concept that's out there. All right. So let's look at how the false foundation has been laid for reparation. We have to let's address that and apply the proper issue to discuss, which is restoration. And why restoration? Why restoration and not reparation? Why restoration is the big issue? So let's look now. The definition that is used by those in the quote unquote black conscious group or reparation movement, the definition for reparation that is used is definition here: a sum of money paid in compensation for losses of injury. So the false concept is because of European social engineering, is that 10 million of us was transported, all right, on slave ships, and we were made to forced labor, made to build up this country, all right. That's the false concept. So that's out there. So let's look at what the people are presenting, all right. Why are they presenting that, all right? It's because of the false history that's taught in the textbooks. All right, why do our people think that way? All right, and what should they be thinking? Now let's look at the definition of restoration. Restoration, to bring back into existence, to go back to the original condition. Bring back into use. All right. Now, to bring back into, let's go back. Let's look at this. To go back to the original condition. Now, because of social engineering, our people are classified as black, nickel colored, and African American, and the United States Census Bureau do not know that they are the Americans, that they are the original, Aboriginal, Indigenous, and Native people to the land. And textbooks in the American Indian Museum at Washington, D.C., and other museums similar to that type throughout our land, they see faces of broad noses, thin noses, and narrow noses and thick lips. In the textbooks, as we were going to school, you say, children, we're going to learn about the Indians today, the Native Americans, or the Native people today. What images do we see? We see images of straight hair, thin lips, narrow noses. All right? Now, every year, it's about to come up now, next month, all over our land, both Europeans, preschoolers, kindergartners, first and second graders, maybe third graders, will be what? Looking at documentaries, looking at textbook books, and they'll see pictures of what they call the Native people or Native Americans, all right, or Indians with straight hair, narrow noses, and thin lips. That's going to be done all over the country. And you'll see those pictures in elementary schools now, all over the country and all over our land in elementary schools and preschools. You'll see out in the hallway and also in the classrooms of children drawing these pictures, coloring pictures, documentaries. So that's through social engineering. So many of our people, through social engineering from childhood, have been conditioned on what their Native people look like. So if Ms. were to say to somebody who's unconscious, most who are classified as black, Negro, colored, African American, United States Census Bureau, say he's native to the land, he will be laughed at. Ms. will be laughed at. I was laughed at. My former co-workers, teachers, substitute teachers, administrators, matron workers, security guards laughed at me identified as black, Negro, colored, African American, Latino, Spanish, Puerto Rican, laughed at me in the teacher's lounge when I said that I'm native to the land. They laughed. Now, I wasn't mad at them. Of course they're going to laugh. Why wouldn't they laugh? They've been conditioned, like, as all our people, that a native person to the land has straight hair, thin lips, and no nose. So they say, Mr. Bay, you're not native. Mr. Bay, you don't look native. I said, what does a native person look like? You know, Mr. Bay. No, I don't. Don't tell me. Well, you know. All right, so, of course, they wouldn't tell me. So what I did was I took out, listen audience, I took out, on my website, morecivilletter.net, I have all the pictures on the folder gallery of the unexpected faces of ancient America by Alexander von Wutenau. Stoneheads, figurines, statuettes, and masks. All of them had broad noses and thick lips. I showed my cell phone, showed around. Guess what? I didn't hear nobody. Nobody was laughing. No one. It went from Snickers, and everybody don't know what you're talking about, to respect. They were not laughing because the images. These are not paintings. These are stoneheads, pictures, photos of stoneheads, statuettes, figurines, images. So social engineering. So this ties it to the reparation. That they tied it to what they did was the European occupiers of our land have laid the false foundation for our people to accept the reparation argument. Our people don't know that they are the natives and founders. And founders. So when we say founders of the government, we're Robert Morris, John Jay, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, Alexander Hamilton. They're not the founding fathers. So that's social conditioning. $500 million building. $500 million building in Philadelphia called the National Constitution Center reinforces the false social engineering. That's social engineering. The Independence Hall building right next door reinforces that. People from all over the world are reinforced through social engineering of the false founders. So this lays the foundation for the reparation argument. So those who do not know, why do they accept the reparation argument and not restoration? Not the restoration issue is to restore us to our government. And our government, that Moorish government, was falsely called the United States government. It's not the United States government, it's the Moorish government. So they use the name United States government, no such government. So I don't know no United States government. I know the Moorish government that's being controlled and on occupation by the United States occupational power. I know that. I don't know no United States government. It doesn't exist. So that false foundation has been planted. So if anyone everybody take out a Federal Reserve note, a one note, but they falsely call it $1 bill, and turn to the back of that one note, and you'll see the obverse and reverse. The Great Seal Pyramid is the obverse, O-B-V-E-R-S-E, which means the front or principal chief side of a painting or a seal. The reverse is the eagle that you see. Barack Obama and the gang speaks under that. But they don't speak under the pyramid, the Great Seal Pyramid. But they speak under the eagle, which is the reverse, which is the subordinate or back of a painting, building, or seal or design. So to see, so our brothers and sisters who are Masons and Eastern Stars, they wear the Moorish Masonic apron and have the all-seeing eye. And that all-seeing eye is also on the pyramid. That's on the back of the one note. This is the great seal of the Moorish government, falsely called the United States government. I want to make very clear because I want people to be clear on what I'm talking about. All right? And what they're calling the United States government is the Moorish government. And the seats, the capital today of the Moorish government is at Washington, D.C. You have the Supreme Court, the Moorish Supreme Court building, the Moorish Capitol building, and the Moorish Palace where Barack Obama and his family live. That's the Moorish government. The Moorish government is functioning today. So the issue is restoration. Restore the sovereignty to the Moors. That's the issue. But that issue has been covered up through social engineering, and they have created a false education, a false history with that transatlantic slave trade story. There's a book called, the author is unknown, Cynthia Eel at Houston, Texas, sent me gave me this title of this book a couple of days ago. It is called The Discovery of America, the Outreach of the Conquest of the Moors. Let me read it, say it again, the author is unknown. Discovery of America, the Outreach of the Conquest of the Moors. But there is a direct correlation of the Moorish fall, the Europeans' rise to world power, and how Moors fall, direct correlation. And in September 2011, one of my former co-workers, history teacher, said to me as I was talking to him about Moors and Masonry, he said, Mr. Bay, how did the Europeans come into world power and domination? By defeating the Moors. That's a fact, Jack, and it's documented. That's a fact, Jack. We are Moors. Those who are classified as black, Negro, colored, African-American, Latino, Spanish, Puerto Rican are Moors. In 1567, on the Philip II, issued a bull to classify the Moors as Spanish and putting Moors under Spanish rule. We are definitely Moors. There's documentation. So that correlation, that has been suppressed. That direct correlation of our fall and their rise. They rose to world power by defeating us. They didn't defeat no black people. They defeat the Moors, who are classified today. Now go to a unabridged dictionary. There's laying some foundation here, so those who don't know, and those who already know that they're Moors, you're going to teach your children. You're going to teach your co-workers. You're going to teach your friends. All right. Now, so I'm giving you some foundation on how to present this for those who are dealing with reparations. If you were, I'm speaking to the audience, if they would say, if you were to tell somebody who's in that reparation movement and say, well, reparation is not the right issue, and you live like that, that wouldn't be intelligent. It wouldn't be intelligent to put that out there without giving them a foundation. So that's why I'm giving this foundation so you make that connection on how to present it to somebody who does not know, particularly someone who is dealing with that reparation, which is actually a false issue. As I said, the correct issue is restoration, restoring our land as well as our government. As I said, restoration is to bring back into use, to go back to the original condition. So what is the original condition? Restoring us back to our government and restoring the land to us. That issue was addressed in the 13th article with the 20 sections. In the 13th article, 20 sections, the Congressional Globe, Saturday, April 9th, 1864. The three issues of restoration now is the legal status issue. That has to be that paramount. Land rights and monetary compensation. It ain't just say monetary compensation. No. All right? No. We're not looking for just monetary compensation. Absolutely not. In fact, that wouldn't be the issue at all. We don't need that at all. If the government is restored to us in our land, what we need to talk about monetary compensation for? The land and our government, so that we can begin to enforce, have legislative power, executive power, and judicial power. Restore the sovereignty. Means the sovereign power is the is the supreme power that's not subordinate to another earthly power. So restore the national sovereignty to the Moors and the Pure Davan to the Moors. So the Europeans today are functioning our government. So looking at that, once again, looking at the 13th article of the 20th section, and they covered that up, and what they did was they suppressed that issue, a restoration, and what? Introduced the false issue of reparation. So our people think that they came on some spaceships and that they want to get their 40 acres and their mule. And so let's look at that issue. And I addressed this last Wednesday. Now let's look at this issue of reparation. They're not asking those who are dealing with the reparation issue. They're not asking for lawful constitutional lawful money, gold and silver. So now you have, let's say that the Europeans were to give our people, let's say 5 trillion. Say try 5 trillion. Well, our people not being conscious of who they are, the Europeans gonna give them mortgages. All right, continue to tax them now. Continue to tax them. We're gonna go what? Get cars from them. Giving us more houses, clothes, food, TVs, furniture, you name it. So that cannot be the issue, because that's not going to restore us to sovereign power. So the Europeans will still maintain control and still tax us. And they'll tax us right out of it. And as we have said, we're going to them to purchase everything. We won't be talking about, banks and, corporations and, farming, and getting trucks for farming. That wouldn't be in our mindset. But if that were in our mindset, if you don't have sovereign power, that sovereignty is not restored. The occupying power will continue to tax you. So if you talk, let's say those who in the reparation movement are talking about farms, talking about corporations, talking about banking, you're still going to be subjugated to them, the occupying powers. They'll still tax you. The power to tax is the power to destroy. One, being taxed by a farm. We're not talking about that tax. We're talking about being taxed by a foreigner. Not being taxed by a foreigner. So that's the issue. So we got it. So the right issue has to be raised, but they have to give them a foundation on why restoration and not reparation. All right. Any questions?
Yes. I just have one. You mentioned the White House being the Moorish palace. Would you mind just explaining a little bit for the people the correlation between Casablanca as it relates to Morocco and the White House as it relates to the Western Hemisphere or America or Morocco, the true West, etymologically? Because you also mentioned that the Europeans got into power by defeating the Moors, which we know Moors had a big conflict with the Spaniards or the Europeans who were calling themselves Spaniards. So that whole essence of etymology of Casablanca relating to the White House in the Western Hemisphere.
I'll do that now. I'll do that, and also want to clarify America and the geographical boundary of America. So yes, the etymology. Let's translate. Casablanca means White House. Blanca means white. Casa house, White House. All right. So you have in the Kingdom of Morocco and what they now call Northern Africa today. All right. You have the Casablanca. Now, this is the Empire of Morocco, which extends from what is now known as Canada all the way down to Argentina, including Jordan Islands. Now, let's look at the name America. Because of social engineering, all right, because when you say America, people who are not conscious will fix their minds on what they learn in school, all right, are the United States. They falsely call the United States. That geography that the world falsely know as the United States. All right, and they say, well, that's America. No. That's part of America. That's not all of America. That's not all of America. So let's look at America. America, that's what they now call Canada, all right, what they falsely call the United States, Mexico, all right. You have the Central America, South America, the Caribbean, and the joining islands. That's America. That constitutes America. So if Ms. were in Haiti right now, and Ms. was calling me from Haiti, Ms. will be calling me from another part of America. I'm in America. I'm in a part of America, and Ms. will be calling me from a part of America. All right? Ms. will say, Abdullah, I'm going to leave Haiti to come visit you in America. No, Ms. No, you're not going to be leaving America because you're already in America. See? That's a false concept. The false concept is that the word America only geographically applies to false land that they call the United States. That's all. What they've done, what the Europeans occupiers have done, was falsely interchange the name America with the generic term United States as though they had the same meaning, same origin, and same jurisdiction. They do not. Haiti is an American state, American country. El Salvador, American state, American country. Costa Rica, American state, American country. So I just want to clarify the word America and its proper geographical boundaries.
Right on.
All right.
Indeed.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to say that. Oh, did you have another question, Ms.?
No, my question was close.
I got one. I just got
okay,
one.
Before you say yours, I just want to say for what he just said, thank you so much for clearing that up. And I trust that the people will begin thinking in the fashion of what the geographical boundaries of America is, and for all those who study with the Circle 7 Quran, if they read chapter 47, it affirms those same boundaries, just as Abdullah just
Absolutely.
said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how you know that they're not really studying that, because they didn't. So I'm glad you cleared up the concept. Peace. Thank you. Go ahead, Emily.
Peace.
I just got one clarification that I like, because I know a lot of people. I know me personally. When we talk about how the Moors fell, a lot of people have this misconception that there was like some battle that was waged between Moors and modern Europeans, and modern Europeans won. And in actuality, that's not what happened. The only reason that modern Europeans got in was because we were so busy fighting with each other. And it's the same thing that's going on today. I don't know of any war that modern Europeans and Moors fought and modern Europeans won. Usually it was because they had us on their side and we turned on the family, or, we would which is infighting, and we still doing the infighting thing.
Absolutely. It was internal conflict. Our political power weakened because of internal conflict. It wasn't so much, as Anita was saying, it's not so much as, external forces, that being the European powers. It was more in as much as the internal conflict. We control our Andalusia, which is modern-day Spain, and even beyond, larger than that, for almost 800 years. And because of internal conflict, it occurred in the 900s, 1000, 1100s. We began losing strongholds in Seville, Cordova, and the last stronghold was in 1490 that we lost in 1492 in Granada as a sort of internal conflict. The Europeans were so powerful that they overtook us. Absolutely not. Internal conflict. There was a lot of Moors who were, centuries where Moors were, buying European concubines. And we had European concubines, in our homes. Various wealthy Moors would have European concubines in our realm. So a period of centuries now. Now, that's looking at the lightening up or the bleaching out, where over a period of centuries, because of this practice of Moors, sleeping with European women and having European women as concubines, the practice concubinage, in a period of centuries, we began to lighten up. So this is a process. It wasn't. You can't point to one particular war, particular year. It was a period of centuries. We weren't totally defeated in 1492. We lost the last stronghold of Granada in 1492, and we reorganized under Sardinian dynasty in 1500s, and we took control of the seas. So we became the dominant seafaring commercial trading powers in the 15, and was also during the 16 and 1700s. So this transatlantic slave trade, this false concept of Europeans going back and forth, we were seizing their ships. Their ships were being seized. We were capturing them. So there's a direct correlation, a long history of wars, ransom payments, of our capturing Europeans, Europeans capturing us, our holding us for ransom, they're holding us for ransom. You're talking about long wars, long period. The Europeans have suppressed it as though we never existed. What they've done, when they write their history in textbooks, they only discuss the interchange among each other, treaties among each other, wars among each other. Yeah. And so they actually took out wars we have with them, seizing ships with them. Any diplomatic relations we had with them, they did not put in textbooks, as if we never existed, as if we never existed, as if we never had treaties with them, as if we never had wars with them, as if we never captured them, as if we never held them for our ransom, as if it never existed.
And with that,
this is the greatest historical crop of the history of the world.
Would that also explain to an inherent dislike for us and fear of us, and continued murdering of us, period?
Yes,
right.
Absolutely. Ross, you hit it on the nail. They do fear us. You say, well, how can they fear us, Abdul? They the ones that got in the power and they fear. All right? See, they have to. See, what they got to continue to keep this chaos and keep us disorganized. All right, so that we not unite and reclaim our government, our land, because they fear that we will do to them what we once did to them in the past. That we will continue. That we will get back in the power and we do to them what we did to them. Do to them what they're doing to us now. No. I'm talking about what we do to them, what we did to them in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about doing to them what they're doing to us now. I'm talking about doing to them what we did to them in the past. Because it say that to do to them that they did to us in the past, no, we did that to them in the past.
Yeah.
What they doing to us, we did that to them in the past. So they don't want to repeat that. So it is a lot. It is fear. Absolutely. It's rooted in fear. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them know the history. I mean, you talk about, Europe. This was a major issue throughout Europe. Where we would seize the brave winner. You had Europeans going into poverty and sort of holding their husbands and the Moorish captivity, holding for high ransom. They were religious orders, charity orders that were established for the sole purpose of raising finance to get Europeans out of Moorish captivity. This is a major issue all throughout Europe. Major issue.
Right.
They covered this up. They covered it up as if it never existed.
Facts.
Right.
Now, Dooley, can I ask another question, bro? All right, check
Absolutely.
it out, right? All right, we look at the history and we see that there's a pattern of subjection. We know we can go into the fact that the Europeans are actually modern. So there was a time when, the subjection or somebody had to keep the one up between Moors and, modern Europeans. That wasn't even a thought process. But it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that those who've maintained powers, whether it be Moors or Christians, in a certain extent, and I'm talking about, to keep a people totally subjected or to stay in absolute power, do you think that Moors could rule again without subjection or do you think that for absolute rulership, for absolute dominion, there has to be an aspect of subjection or peonage for that rulership to maintain, being as though it's a new, I would say like a new cell in the human body or the family of nations? Like, is it like a something we have to treat as a disease perpetually until we cure it? Or is it always going to be one nation has to subject the other for absolute rulership? Because there's a lot of Moors locked down right now who, if they had a chance, they would flip all the COs and all the judges in the cell and walk free if they could. Now, we know there's more civilized methods of going about things, but what is your thoughts on that? Do you think subjection has to be in play?
That's a great question. Great question. Well, philosophical, that's a great question. And that's something that I've been pondering for years. Great question. Wow. I don't think that it has to be where there has to be someone or a nation subjecting another nation. I mean, there's plenty of food, plenty of the earth, for everyone to enjoy. I mean, so that doesn't have to exist. All right, you're looking at greed there, absolute greed. Now you ask the question: do we think we can rule again without subjecting anyone? That being the Europeans or our own people, That is. I hope so, Ms. I hope so.
And you know, to add to that, I think some of the hints that we've been given to make that happen in the principle of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice is for us to rise to our higher self, and for the modern Europeans to rise to their higher self and release themselves of that fear. But I also think that in their efforts to hide this truth, they've caused another issue, because there's a lot of people who will get upset or ought to be a little concerned about the fact, oh my gosh, they lied to us. But really, when you really think of it, they didn't really lie to us. I mean, they did lie, but they like you said, they just told the history from their perspective, and it is our time to tell the history from our perspective, because as Prophet Nuwuju Ali said, you have an illustrious history. And I think that in telling that truth about that history, it may cause everybody to just chill out and receive and be who we are, except if it's a karmic debt, if that's what it is, it's done. It's over. It is finished. And the truth that we now need to really indulge ourselves in will take its place amongst the affairs of man. And that is the way in which I think this will pan itself out, because as you mentioned, we are in fact, the mothers and fathers of civilization. The mixing causes the lighter and lighter and so on. Once we all realize that it all comes back to, and I believe that is why they said one mother's breast has given us suck, by one way or the other, it all comes back to the human family, then I think that everybody can relax, because at this point, we've been tricked into thinking we're free, and you can't have freedom without truth. You can't have freedom without peace.
No, you can't.
It's just impossible. So I'm thinking everybody will relax and be like, our people will be so happy, and so should some modern Europeans as we go into the next generations. Not all of them are prejudiced or whatever like that. Everybody wants peace today, and they're all looking for it. Now, I also know that the document of the Constitution, which is the law of the land, and was already written in the spirit of divine law, and it will bring that peace to us all if we all were to follow it without violating it. Otherwise, we're molested. So that's the two things I think we should bring to the table: truth about the history, and accept it. We have to accept, we have to stop walking around like victims of slavery. And we do, and I think that once we know that we were actually the ones who enslaved them from their birth as convicts, that should change us. And I think we should relax. I think we all want this peace. Islam.
I agree. Great point. Great point.
So the truth is the light for real, right?
Great point. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So this the issue of restoration has to be introduced, and we would have to be the ones to do it, to introduce it to those who have accepted, because of social engineering, this the false position of reparation.
I won't interrupt you, Dewey, but I just don't need the people to not hear what you said. You said
yes.
that this has to be introduced by us. They are not. I repeat, they are not going to do it. That is why we need to know these things and claim our status amongst the affairs of man. That's what you're saying, and I really want people to understand.
Well, I hear what you said, but I think it can. I mean, when I say introduce, as far as writing, we are putting writings out into the public. Yeah, I'm not saying go to them one-on-one. You would have to actually put it out in the hands of people around them as well. Just put it out into the public. You mean have those who right, yeah. And it and it has to be done as far as in the context of history too, because if we're just talking, let's say, about this same restoration and reparation issue, and without history, then it's not going to be properly understood, right? Because it's the false history that has them accepting the reparation, because they really think they're the descendants of slaves that was brought on a slave ship and the holds of ships by the Europeans. All right, made to build this country in their mind. Made to build this country by the Europeans. That's their mindset. So we have to correct that.
Right.
This is our country. Europeans. I'm not advocating for Europeans to get out, but what I'm saying what I'm saying, they're not the sovereigns. They're not the founders. They're not the founders. So that whole founder crap. They're not that. I'll embrace Europeans, but they're not the founders. All right, we make it very clear. They're not the imperial potentates. They're not the sovereign grand commanders. They're not the royal monarchs. They're not the illustrious. They're not the nobles. They're not the free white persons. They're not the Americans. They're not the whiteys. They're not white Americans. They're not that. All right, so they're taking our titles and they're claiming to be the Big Maha and the founders. They're not that. I am embracing them, but not basing them on a falsehood. Not basing them on the foundation of truth, but not embracing them on the foundation of that falsehood. Absolutely not.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm not advocating to throw European. I'm not coming from no hate, because I cannot push no hate thing. I'm not pushing that, because I cannot go out there and teach and push the hate agenda. You cannot bring the people rise with hate. Nah, that's not gonna work.
Right.
Right.
But
hate whitey. Nah.
There's no need for hate. I mean, it is what it is.
Of course not. Right.
This is a matter of historical reference. So it's not.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's so not about hate. And if anybody is thinking that this is about hate or dislike, they're so far off the mark. Because if you go back into the historical record, you will see that we welcome everybody to come here and live in peace and harmony. The problem is you got a select few that think that they're going to take over everything and enslave everyone, and that's just not the way it was ever supposed to be.
Yep.
I mean, it's just never that way. And then you got people pushing this compassionate capitalism. This was never a capitalistic continent. That was never what we as a people were involved in.
Absolutely.
We were brilliant craftsmen. We were merchants. We created some of the most beautiful things on planet Earth, and we exchanged it. And we took great joy in doing it just to do it, not to turn a profit. So, that's the history that we need to go back to, and that's the energy that we all need to go back to, really. You know, and I believe that the reason that many of us, you know, are like in this self-destruct mode is because we're not utilizing our creativity. We're just being wasteful.
No, we don't know the truth about who we are. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And it makes us feel inadequate. And I mean, look at it. I mean, we could go on and on with some of the social, as you called it, as it is, social engineering that has been put in place that keeps us feeling that way. Oh, we're finally going to get an education. Oh, we're finally going to rise to the top. We are the top. We're the mothers and fathers. We're the lineal descendants and fathers of civilization. None of that makes sense. We're the ones who taught them. So we have to kill that place. We absolutely must, and go to a different frame of mind, which is where the truth is, you know.
Yes. Now, Dooley, it's 10:30, and I know you know time is limited.
Yeah, because I got to get to work. I get up extra early, because I got to get in early. Yeah, that's why. And I'm there.
Yes, I do understand. I do understand. We have a couple of people on the line with their hands raised, and
all right, no problem. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Take a couple of questions. All right. Now look, yes. I want please. I'm just gonna make this statement to our listening audience, because I noticed there are quite a few hands raised. We want to keep the questions focused on this issue that was presented for Dooley to answer. All right, so if your question is regarding this whole issue of reparations and the information that was just presented, stay in the queue. But if it's for something else, can you just press 1 to come out of the queue? Because we don't want to not answer questions, but we want to keep the questions to this specific subject matter, because Dooley's time is limited. All right? So I'm going to take the first caller, and that is caller 347-925. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Mexico.
Islam, my Moorish family. How y'all doing tonight? This is Balance Bay on a check-in from Island. How y'all feeling?
Islam.
Great.
Islam.
All right. I like what y'all talking about. Y'all got a good show tonight about that reparations. Yeah, we need to really talk about that. That's definitely something really to talk about when they put these words called African American receiving reparation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. And I don't want
you have a question.
People to talk that.
Well, did you listen to what I presented of why our people?
Yeah.
You don't get it. Yes, or why our people are presenting that? Because that was why are they accepting that and embracing reparations? Why? And I answered. I explained why. It's because that ties into the false history. Our people would, like I said, our people would think they came on some slave ship. All right, from the continent, now known as South Africa to America, built the country. All right, and so they, looking for repayment, for this free labor and their mind that the Europeans, gain.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a false premise.
And you right on time with that. I ain't disagreeing with you, but I want to know to the fact that. The spell is so heavy out here by these sorcerers, which we know what it is, that a lot of them out here are going to go in that title, which is been programmed to thinking they're going to get all this money because they know the money is really falling. It's out of here. Mm-hmm. So it's like a trickery game they get ready to play again on their brains.
Well, our people don't know that. Our people don't know that. Our people don't know. Our people. I'm saying the masses of people are not. Our masses of people are not aware of that. Masses of people refer to Federal Reserve notes as money. All right. So our masses of people are not even thinking along the line. It's falling. It's going to drop. They're not thinking along that line. They're living day to day. All right. And survival. They're not thinking along the lines of what you're presenting.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about the masses. Right, exactly.
Right. It's been a lot of trickery.
It's
a lot of trickery. It's a lot of trickery been played on our people. And our people, when you lack the knowledge, it's a lot of things that come with that, you know?
All right.
Oh, this is why we have venues. That's why we have venues like this, bro. Platforms like this. So we can
I'm glad it's out here like that because a lot of us are not even aware these venues exist.
Well, you know what? And here's the thing, you know, the prophet said, you know, well, actually, you know, there's a saying, my sheep hear my voice. All right, so everybody's not going to get the call. But they might not get it now, but they will get it later. But I thank you so much for your call. We got some other callers that we need to get to because
I yield the floor, and I appreciate talking to you. Y'all have a wonderful night, my Moorish family. Okay?
Thank you, brother.
All tap is long.
Okay.
All right. Caller 501-352. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwestern Maxim. Please keep your question, you know, to the topic of this particular segment of the broadcast.
Oh, Islam, I didn't have a question.
Oh, all right. That's all right. All right, just press 1 on your telephone when after you hear the muted.
All right.
All right. All right, and now we got Brother Bakari. Islam, Brother Bakari.
Hi.
Islam to the panel. I have a question for the brother, and my question is, what do you think we can expect from foreign nations, foreign countries? When I think of rather in terms of releasing information on our history, when I look at the history and when I do study, it's obvious, and you have to please excuse my voice, I'm a little ill, but when I look at the history, we were everywhere on the globe. And so I think that can... Yes. And so because numerous foreign nations were involved in keeping quiet on our history, because they certainly benefited from our enslavement, what can we look at in terms of the future?
You brought up a couple issues. You brought up a couple issues, though, brother, that I want to clarify too. Now, yes, you're correct that we were everywhere, but I would like to focus on, this area. I would like to focus on where we are right now, and bringing our people classified as black, Negro, colored, African American, Latino, Spanish, Puerto Rican, right, back into sovereign power. I like to focus on that. I don't want to focus on, we can talk about where we were in China and Indonesia and Vietnam, yes, but our people lack political power, so we have to restore the political power so that we can be able to address that. Now, another issue addressed is how would foreign nations respond to us and respond to us once we get back into power? That's I'm assuming you mean that once we get back into power. So you mean that?
No,
how do we respond?
No. I was referring to other nations, foreign nations, basically sharing information that, from a political perspective, as you mentioned, would not necessarily give us their approval, but would, because so many of our people in Northwestern Maxim are blinded, and throughout the world, because of our educational backgrounds and the indoctrination, I was wondering, is there anything that we could do to help facilitate?
He's talking about assistance from the other nations who are actually our family, And we all know that they're waiting for us to come alive. And Dooley, I know you're going to answer. I think you're going to say something to the effect of, as soon as we realize who we are here, then we can get that assistance.
Yes, yes, brother. There is a large movement on the rights of indigenous people. Now, the problem is that our people are classified as black, Negro, colored, and African American. Don't know that they are original people, indigenous people to the land. Now, once we have to be brought into that conversation. You know, with those indigenous movement groups throughout Central America, South America, and the adjoining islands. All right, those groups are rising up. So this discussion is being brought to the forefront. But once again, we're outside of the discussion. Those who are classified as black, Negro, Moors classified as black, Negro, colored, and African American are outside the discussion. All right, because of European social engineering, they're teaching us that we came on some slave ship somewhere from the continent of Africa, brought here to North America, Central South America. All right, so they will embrace us. They definitely will embrace us. They're pretty much tired of the Europeans. We're not the only ones addressing the issue of colonization. You have the issue of colonization. The rights of the indigenous movement is the issue of addressing colonization. Mm-hmm. So we're not the only ones that are doing that. All right. So they will embrace us. I clearly see that. All right.
Thank you.
In fact, my book, the American and United States Citizen book, coming out in about the next 4 or 5 months, I'm going to be writing an open letter to the Organization of American States, which you're aware of, established in 1887, headquartered at Washington, D.C., Organization of American States, and you know the member states, Haiti, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Cuba, Mexico, Guyana, and so forth. All right? And those are American states. North Carolina, South Carolina are now American states. All right? So they definitely will embrace us. I clearly see that. Absolutely, brother. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Good. All right.
Dooley, pardon me. I don't mean to be selfish, but I think this would be a good question for the family altogether. All right. One I want to say, you mentioned the Organization of American States. For anybody who checks out on YouTube, I have a video up. It's called Organization of American States. I'm a rocking woman in front. All right. I was there last week, the week before that, and they have a statue in the front, which definitely looks like a Moorish woman in the artwork on it. The carvings in the artwork, you know, looks like what people would consider, you know, Egyptian or Aboriginal carvings in it. But my question to you is this, right? While I was out there, I met a lot of sincere Moors who didn't know they were Moors, only a select few. Mm-hmm. As far as restoring our people back to the concept of being Moors, as an etymologist, what do you think about, you know, the elementary lesson of blackamoors? Do you think like that's a ground to meet them on the level, or you know what I mean, so they can see? Absolutely. Or what do you think about that?
Brother. Absolutely. I've been given a lesson for Taj Tariq. They taught us that lesson. I've been giving that lesson for years. Absolutely. Because what it does, let me so those who are not aware, if you go to an unabridged dictionary, 1930s, 40s, 50s, and you see go to blackamoor, BLACKAMOOR. What you'll see in the brackets, you'll see black, lowercase l, lowercase b, LACK, plus capital MOOR, plus, all right, more, black or more. So it breaks it down as that two words, black plus more. Now, black's an adjective, more's a proper noun. I actually will, yes, that needs to be highlighted, put on the front cover of a newspaper. Absolutely.
Indeed.
Right.
Islam. And again, you can check out that video, Organization of American States, a rocking woman in front. or Mantis Views 29 YouTube channel. Islam.
All right, we got 2 more questions, and then I know you got to go. Caller 708-466. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation and Northwest Mexico. Oh, all right. Well, they just dropped right off. All right, callers 313-350. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation and Northwest Mexico.
Islam family. This is Brother Batal, West Mexico. How's the family doing?
Fine.
Well, brother, thank you.
Okay, my question is in regards to the politics and dealing with the rise of us coming back into power. I understand what you were saying today, Brother Abdullah, and I had a question come to me about, well, who is going to represent us as the conscious Moors that are rising up, that are learning about our history, that are walking back in our ancient, honoring our ancient forefathers and foremothers by proclaiming and declaring who we are and connecting back to the nation of families and back to our nation, So who's going to be there to represent us? Because that was the question that she brought up, and it really hit me pretty tough because I'm like, what is the structure? Who is the structure?
Beware, brother. Like I said, we said be there. What does there denote?
You said bear?
Beware. Yeah, you said be there. Who's gonna be there? To represent us? Beware.
I said the question. Yeah, the young lady had a question. She says, "Who is going to be there?" And I'm talking about in place. Not as where or there in a specific place.
All right. I got you.
I'm talking about.
Oh, I think he's talking about, my opening remark. But,
yes.
we're not a representative form of government. The Moors is not a representative form of government.
Thank you.
That's about Europeans.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that came up because we get the emails all the time. People, I know you might want to comment, but that's the indoctrination we have, that somebody's got to represent us. What we're saying is we are Aboriginal Indigenous people. I've taught you. We have to know that, and we have to be that. We have to be who we are by descent nature first and foremost. But what we are concerned about, who's going to represent us? And that's the wrong, and I don't mean anything against you, but that's the wrong position to take. That's not the type of government we are. Islam, Dewey, you might want to comment.
I just think that's a valid question for a lot of us that are up and coming, that are just learning and coming into this information. Yeah.
We hear it all the time. We don't need to be represented in the United Nations. They've already acknowledged us. This is the whole point. They have already acknowledged us as the Aboriginal Indigenous people with rights in place. And we keep, as I had said earlier, we keep looking who's going to represent us in the United Nations. We're already acknowledged.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Julie. Go ahead.
Are you talking about? Because I'm trying to get some clarity from him too. Are you talking about, for example, let's say there is you have the Organization of American States, and there are the annual conferences there. I guess your question would be, who would be there addressing our issue? Who would be there at an annual conference for the Organization of American States? You're right. Of course, it wouldn't be a million. It would have to be a few of us. What delegate, would be there? I think that's what he's. Is that what you're going like that, brother?
Absolutely. That's the question that she kind of was presenting, and I wanted to.
Right. I figured you were going there.
That's on the line. Yep.
Right. I figured you were going there. All right. I got you. All right. I got you. All right. You have the issue here is that you have, of course, you definitely have, because this is where Great Seal comes in, brother. So we can answer the question in the terms of the Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs, all right? And you have, of course, Ross, Ms. and Aida, all right, are heavily involved, all right, myself and, Taj, Sharique, and others, all right, so they are those, who actually are involved in Great Seal National Association of Moors Affairs, all right, and those who are qualified to actually go, for example, so I can be, clear, so I can explain it clearly as to what you're trying to project, go to a conference, Organization of American States, all right, because they have annual conferences. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
And not represent us, but actually present our issues. Say if we do have
present our issue. Absolutely, right. Absolutely. Bring our issue, present the issue, and make a connection. Make the network. Absolutely, I know what you're talking about. All right, I'm there with you, bro. I hear you.
And people.
All right. Excellent question.
Okay. No. Who would be so it'll be Great Seal. So if I was to answer the young lady's question, this is just a reciprocation of her question. I would say I could refer to the members, the delegates, the people that are in place at Great Seal will be able to speak.
Yeah, and I gave you a few names. I mean, I gave you a few names. So I was more detailed.
You're giving who would be qualified as those who would be active.
Right. That's why I gave a few names. So
brother. It could be you if you were up on active.
I'm not an adept mother. I'm not an adept mother. I'm just a humble son. I'm just learning.
Go ahead.
Right. I got you. But
here's the thing, and this is what we all endeavor to do. If there's right, do we just counted up like 4 people that is
5 or 6,
and it's active,
more,
right?
And
right. Yes,
I mean,
yes.
But here's the thing. The reason that we do what we do, on top of trying to, address various issues that are relative as well as the other family as they come up, is because everybody's supposed to be competent to draft up a writ and send to the various families around the world. That's the protocol. The challenge that we have as a people is that our people have been dumbed down so much that following simple instructions is a challenge. So we are in a constant catch-up mode because of that. So what you're saying is being effectuated and has been effectuated. If you look at the writs on the various, like, RV-based publications, Moorish Nation, public records, these things, they have been addressed, even, and all of these, various different families around the world, they've been CC'd, and that is why you see a little break in what has been happening. Things are easing up, they're changing slowly because of that work. But what we need is more people to be just as competent. It can't be just, for example, 4 or 5. It's got to be 500.
Yes, ma'am.
This is why over in what they call the Middle East today, they can't get a grip on the people over there because everybody knows the same thing. So if you take out the person they identified as the so-called leader, there's another leader that pops up right behind them because everybody is a leader. There's no followers. We need to take the same position, and that's why we do what we do. We give this information. We try to bring people along. We can't do the work for you. I'm not saying that you're saying we should, but we need more people to be able to, come and speak on various different subjects because it can't just be a handful of people. But even with the handful of people we got, we have been notifying the family around the world.
And a great work, too, that you all have been doing. I am not discounting that at any rate. I just wanted to make sure that I brought this example this question, before the family, so that way we can get complete clarity. So when I go back, I'll have
No, great question, brother. Great question.
It is.
All right, family. I love y'all, Islam.
Wonderful. Hey, brother, it is a wonderful question. Hey, we got it. Yeah, it's a great question. So hopefully it'll inspire everybody to get active. That's why the prophet said himself, got to be active, boys. Got to be active. Islam.
Yes,
yeah.
Islam, mother. All right, family.
Islam.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. All right. Thank you. Well, Dewey, that was our last question, and it is 11 o'clock.
Right.
Oh, I got one
you.
last question. I got one last question because we talked about reparations, and I didn't ask you this, and it might be something we have to talk about another time, but because someone brought it to me, but I know it was all a farce about reparations that went to the so-called Jews. That was all just, they're all extensions of each other. That was all bogus anyway.
Right. Well,
yeah.
Well,
okay.
they're still getting finance. The fake Jews. They're still getting finance. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. All
but
right.
It's still based on a false premise. They made up so they control that part of another part of Palestine.
Yep.
That they call Israel. So, absolutely.
Which it was established in 47 or 57.
54, 57, one of the two, yes.
Yeah, 57, I believe it was, yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, but thank you for having me again. I just want for those who want to go to my website and look at the pictures from Unexpected Faces in Ancient America by Alexander von Rutenau. You go to my website, the photo gallery on my website, moorishciviletter.net. That's MOORISCIVILETTER.net. Go to the photo gallery, you'll see those pictures. And also the book, They Came Before Columbus by Iron Van Sertima. They Came Before Columbus by Iron Van Sertima.
Yeah. And also that you're that's at the National Theater now every fourth Wednesday. Just add that on there too.
Yeah, I'm also at the National Black Theater every fourth Wednesday. Yes, that's 125th and 5th Avenue and at Harlem. All right.
Yes, and we blog that on our blog.
Yeah, we blog that. Yes.
And one more. Don't forget, we holding you to the Mantis Views 29.
Oh yeah, well I'm going to get with you. So what I'll do is I'll call you tomorrow. We get this put down the time and give you time. All right. Peace. Peace and love.
All right.
Thank you
so much. All right.
All right. That was interesting. So.
Yeah.
For those who are here.
So much information. So much studying. There's a lot of catching up for us to do, but really, I want people to comprehend that you might be sitting there, as I was back in 2008, thinking, oh my God, this is an enormous amount of information. How will I ever get it into my head? How will I ever keep it straight? Let me just tell you, I felt that way, and I read everything and anything could. I wanted to know. And what you're going to find is that, because I know there's a lot of people that do this, you're always looking for, well, what to say if they say this, and what to say if they say that. What if you go here and they say this, that, and the other? And I'm going to tell you that kind of thing it will make you crazy, because you can never prepare for every question they may possibly ask you. But if you comprehend the basic concept, if you can grasp the concept, then what happens is you'll get, it doesn't matter what question they come to you with, because once you grasp the concept, at you with any question, and you will have the answer because you got the concept. And unfortunately, everybody it's going to click with everybody at different times. And what might work for me might not work for you. For example, I can tell you for me, what worked for me was I read everything. And I would have these thoughts that would just circle around in my head and drive me crazy. And the only way I could get it out was if I wrote it down. And a lot of times I just wrote it down and just kept on moving. And it wasn't until like a year or two later and I had absolutely nothing to read, which is not usual. I went back and read one of my journals, and I realized I was writing down a fountain of information that clearly came from somewhere inside of me that answered all of the questions I had been chasing after and was written in the book by me, by I'll say my higher energy self. It was there all along. But
yes.
You know, you'll be chasing after the answer, you know, and until it clicks in your head, and I don't know what's going to make it click, but it will click for everybody at different times. That's what works for me. That might not be what works for you, but what you have to do is you have to go on your journey to find what works for you. How can you get this information to stick and stay in your head? Because trust me, the brother just called in and he asked, who is going to go and present our issues? Everybody has to be competent to present the issues, not just for themselves,
right.
but for the family.
That's
right.
Right.
And last week, what did we ask? We asked people to come and give a presentation on the municipal corporation that is near them, and we got only 2 callers that gave a presentation. That is, how are we going to shovel ourselves out from under the avalanche of lies that are being told about us daily if we got only 2 people who go and do the necessary research to make a presentation on behalf of themselves and the family?
Yep.
Yet the brother's asking who's gonna make the presentation. Everybody's looking around. You know why? And then I'm gonna say this and then we'll yield. You know why everybody's looking around? Because everybody's been mentally conditioned to look for somebody else to handle their affairs. When the prophet said, come and take your seat amongst the affairs.
Yeah.
Right. Now,
so
can I add on?
This is our challenge. We got to purge out this concept that's deeply planted in us that says, go find somebody to take care of it. You got to root that out. You got to plant in that space, I'm going to take care of it myself. If the hairless the queen, Islam.
Islam. And I just wanted to add on to everything you was just saying about going back and checking your journal down before and running out of material to read and all of those things, just for the record. And anybody could correct me if I'm wrong. But I think because I can relate to that. I've been there. I can't say I have as much experience on earth as you, but I've been in that place you were speaking about of, damn, what do I read next? Let me go back to my notes. Oh, all the answers were in my notes. Would you agree that in all reality, the degree you was just speaking on is probably one of the highest degrees, called reflection, because you went back to your journal after you took in all of that. You stepped back and looked at it all and then said, okay, this is what I can take from all of that time of reading and digesting those things. Is that not a fact? That's a reflection.
Oh my God! You know what? I've got to tell you this story. I have got to. You know what? People might laugh when I say this, but I was a diehard Amway distributor back in the day, and because it was it was a lesson. It was a beautiful lesson. Some people had horrible experiences. I had a beautiful experience. Let me just say this. I was hungry for a way out of the situation of my life. And I went to these meetings, and I wrote down, because everybody would say, I'm going to tell you the secret. You know, the books you buy, I'm going to tell you the secret. So I pulled the speaker. I went to some seminar, and the speaker came out, and he says, I'm going to tell you the secret. And I pulled out my notebook and my pen, and every time he started talking, I was just jotting down notes. I was afraid not to jot down notes because I didn't want to miss the secret. And he ended his speech, and I was like, wait a minute. He never told me the secret. I was so upset. When I went back to my room and reread my notes, I was so happy I was taking notes because in the notes was the secret. I wrote the secret down. Didn't even realize I wrote the secret down, right? Until I went back and reviewed my notes. And this is why whenever you're listening to these broadcasts or you come to a class or anything, we always say, take out your pen and paper because you have to write things down because you will miss the secret.
Right.
I hear the floor.
It's all facts. That's all facts. So, all right. So this is just the last thing I wanted to speak about on the notes. Reparations, you know, and how we were speaking about briefly that we can't really do it under the false premise of being quote-unquote African Americans, because that's not our nationality. That's not what we were being called, even when the subjugation took place. Originally, when the Pilgrim or the Europeans started coming into power via subjugating people, or Moors to be exact, you know, African American wasn't the term. So reparations or the repairing of a nation is no good there. But going back to what you were saying, when you talk about taking that self-responsibility or, you know, reflecting and then realizing the secret and that, you know, the reservoir of everything is in you, you know, kind of remind me in the aspect of reparations. And I look at it like this. I've spoke about this before, you know, how we have rights and, you know, rights, government is correlative to the body, the natural body, you know, man or woman, the vital organs, to say the least. Okay, so like meaning that if somebody was trying to exercise to get swole or to get buffed up or to build muscles, they would have to pick that weight up or weights up and continuously do repetitions. It would have to be repetitive with pumping that muscle, right? And as they do that, what happens is expansion. So you expand through the resistance, right? It's like that being the case, we look at it from the perspective of a body, right? Because what do they say? Body politic, an organized body, the grand body, all of these things are relative, and it correlates still to what you've been saying for years now, is that the first temple is the body. But take it, and I'm looking at it like this, right? You know, because this is not to generalize everybody, but I'm saying overall, those of our people who don't know they're Moors, and then even some people who are Moors, like, it's an infection, it's a sickness, a mental disease that's infecting the body right now. We can say that, we'll call it in law constitutional psychopathic inferiority, right? That's a mental issue. It's a mental issue. So my thing is, there's people, you know, who have done some things to put us in that state of mind. But when you're dealing with a sick people or sick being, let's just say you take a cancer patient, just for example. There's different things attacking the genetics. It's different. It's a disease that's attacking the body. So if that disease was to really be healed within the body, it would take the body, or the all of the cells that make up the body, right, or all of the people that make up the body, to heal themselves, meaning that a doctor can give you a prescription, or a doctor can say, hey, you need to stop eating chicken wings, you need to stop drinking acidic foods, and herein is your repair. This is your reparations. This is how you'll heal your body. You have to leave this alone, and there's something called spontaneous remission, where the body starts to heal itself, and the remedy isn't necessarily something from outside. It's more so what's going on internal, meaning what you let influence from the outside on the inside can determine the results of the remission, or the healing process. So I'm saying that to say this: if we are going to rise as a people correlative to a body with a disease, some people have sicknesses and all different types of levels, it's going to have to be an aspect of self-responsibility or self-healing, which, likened to getting rid of cancer, will be called spontaneous remission, where the people take it amongst themselves to start healing the foreign invasion, right, and get that out of the body. So I'm saying that to say that if you're going to repair a nation or repair a being or repair a people, the people who are sick or who have been infected, it has to be a certain level of protecting the body comes from within the body, meaning that you have to let the cells do what they're going to do to get rid of the disease. You have to take a collective action for a body, because you have a lot of different blood cells that'll fight off a disease, but it's not just one blood cell that does that. It's a multitude of them that make a assemblage to get rid of the foreign invasion. So what I'm saying is, even if somebody said, okay, we're going to give you all of the medicine you need to heal yourself, we could correlate that into all of the, because a lot of people, they think reparations is getting Federal Reserve notes, right? So let's say they give everybody $1 million tomorrow, or 1 million Federal Reserve notes tomorrow. You having it doesn't mean that you're necessarily repaired. That's not that's like having medicines that you don't take. You're still not putting that into the body. So you might possess that, but that's not what's going to bring the healing. Is what you do with it. The thing is, I see it as this: no matter what doctor prescribes or writes down or gives an order for so-called reparations, because remember, these so-called magistrates are what? Doctors of the law. Yeshua or Jesus or justice was disputing with who? The doctors of the law. So you got to remember, they were doctoring up the law. They weren't on the physician's heal thyself type of method. You know what I mean? They were trying to patch something up. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, no matter what the doctor does, if the patient doesn't take heed, and I'm not saying, all doctors are right. I'm just saying that if the patient doesn't do something themselves, they're still going to remain sick. That's just the bottom line. Translation, that if all the Europeans left today, they left the American continent today, right now, everybody on the next boat and flight, where would we be at as a people? I mean, not like real talk. I'm not saying we need them, but if we were really all we had to worry about right here in North America, where would we be at as a people? You have this, like at this particular time, there's a lot of people who the most savage side of them will come out right now, because their mentality is, oh, the Europeans not here, I'm not going to get There's no repercussions, right? Because they're in the slave mentality of associating the modern pale-skinned European with punishment or authority.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Tell it. That's right.
So if they see it as if the European left today, that means there's no authority, there's no rule of the land. And that's society. That's sick. You feel what I'm saying? Like, because there's a lot of people you did some wild shit, and retaliation was carried out regardless if the European was here, meaning that, there's been people who violated certain family members, you know what I mean, with the European here. So don't think, that even if they left, there wouldn't be repercussions, because a lot of people, because you got savages, but then you got some people who just carry out justice regardless, you know what I mean? Whatever the Pilgrims say they're going to do, they don't care about that, you know what I mean? They're saying, if you violate this square, if you violate this cipher, if you break this aura field, there's repercussions to you directly. Now, whatever happens with me in the demos or whatever, then okay, that's subsequent. But you will get justice on your head if you violate. You know what I mean? And I'll get mine. So I'm just saying that and that's not to promote violence. I'm just saying there's a diversity of mentalities of authority, of justice, of executing justice, of executing love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But I can't, and I'm not even going to diversify that. I'm going to leave it on that note. I'm just saying that, the state of mind of a sick people isn't going to heal because they got a prescription or because the doctor left them or because the master left the plantation. It's like in the movie Django, just to give you an idea or the polarity of the mental state. Like at the end, Django opened up the gate for those who was captured in the cage. The so-called master was dead. Django shot them dead. And that's not to promote violence. I'm giving you a polarity or a review of mentalities. So even though the master wasn't even around them no more, they were so mentally stuck that they didn't leave the cage.
Yeah.
We would still have that in the world. You feel what I'm saying? So with that, I just wanted to add that on as far as reparations. There's going to have to be a self-initiating or spontaneous remission for the people, for Moors amongst themselves first. Like, forget what the European, like, we're going to have to heal and not just ourselves, but each one of us basically making up a cell of a larger body. We will have to come together and heal the body, the nation, the people. That's what it's going to take. So, one good blood cell versus 99 bad ones is still not a good look. You know what I mean? But it's hope. You know what I mean? So, again, with that, I yield the floor. Islam.
Yeah, and I'd like to say, hey, man, you gave some great analogies right there. And so it is the mental slavery. And that's why the Prophet Noble Ali said, listen, I've come to take you out of your mental slavery. And this is what you really just laid down and what you demonstrated in what you shared just now. And I have said for years and still say that, and another way to look at it is you have got to have an exorcism of the lies and trash that has been put into your mind computer, if you will. And then you have to you have to have that exorcism first to clean it out before you can have the baptism of truth, and be able to put this other information in, because the condition is mental. We are in a mental slavery. There's no change. And like some people think that, a piece of paper that was submitted and issued through a corporation that has a derivative of what your mother called you actually puts you in slavery. And that's sick. It does by assumption if you believe it, but by being clear, declaring, and then and even with that, making your own publication or whatever, and putting that ill obey on the end of whatever you have. I don't care whatever it is. Just put the ill obey as the title. Now that takes that squashes 99.9% of all of that stuff because it's irrelevant to you claiming your status, and all of that is not even important to you. It doesn't really affect you if you know, as Vanna E said, if you know what to say next, what to do next, whatever like that. So it's the exorcism and then baptism, and to come out of this mental slavery. We see it all the time. We hear it. We know it. What you're saying is so true. That is what we are under, mental slavery, all in our mind. Islam.
And Islam. And you know what? I just want to say, because a lot of people, they will hear us talking and they think, wow, they're so sharp and, oh, my God, Look, we go through a daily purging ourselves. Don't think that this, they can't possibly be going through, these types of mental challenges. Yes, we do. As long as you're in this particular dimension, you're always going to be, you always got to be, let me put it that way, you always got to be on guard because, there's always something trying to either get into your mindset, or every last one of us got stuff we still trying to purge out of ourselves, and and that's real. You got to be honest with yourself. You cannot, you can't sit here and have blinders on when it comes to you. This is about taking those blinders off and looking at everything that is you. And you may not like what you see, but that is the only way that you're going to get into your cranium, do some surgery to remove some of those misinformation and misconceptions that have been working against you that you're only just now becoming aware of. And that's why, we have these types of dialogues, because, look at this. We have to be able to receive information and analyze it. And that's what this whole so-called reparations is all about. How do you know it's a trap? Look at some of the language. African American? What is that? What is that? That's 2 continents. Look at the language. And then who would be given? And then they say the United Nations. Well, the United Nations is a corporate organization. It's not even real. It's a fiction, just like all these other corporations, right? So, and then you have to, then you look at, okay, so what exactly would they be giving you? Because according to the Constitution, your God-given rights are unalienable and inalienable and always have been. And then when you look under that definition of liberty, it is quite extensive. So what exactly would they be giving you? And then you have to look at the trap. If they allege to be giving you Federal Reserve notes, that is a huge trap. Huge. Because Federal Reserve notes is nothing more than a promise to pay. That's not me and Eve saying this. This is case law. So you're going to get reparations in the form of a promise to pay. Well, you didn't get anything then. Yeah. You still at the same place. Now you might have some people thinking, it's the form of exchange that is accepted today. No, the only reason that piece of paper is accepted today is because you have enough people chasing after it.
Yes.
Because I'm going to tell you, people, and this is just not for the Moors. This is for modern Europeans. This is for everybody. Oh, my God. I wish that I was like, some kind of, spirit that can, like, just give me a little club that I can just knock people upside the head as I go about my day, not to injure them, but just to knock them upside, you know, like that commercial, oh, when you hit yourself in the head, I could have VA. You know, just hit them upside the head like that so that their brain cells will just once again start functioning. And this is not just, I'm just not talking the Moors, I'm talking about everybody. Because it is just so, I mean, the more I get into the Constitution, the more I read about how that document got into written form, all right? People on this planet, as you go about your day, nobody is supposed to be a slave to any corporation. I don't care what type of corporation it is. When you have corporations arresting your liberties and then want to have a discussion about how they got jurisdiction, and you don't have the right to a trial, and you can't argue with them, and you can't go into a higher court and get any kind of remedy because a corporation has jurisdiction, and people are accepting this. And I know, I recognize that the majority of people are uneducated. Really, they're uneducated, and why would they be educated when the very corporation that is educating you is raping you and not going to give you a remedy out? You have to go and find the remedy out yourself. You got to do that, and that is what this is all about. This is why the prophet said, I gave you enough to save a nation, now save yourself.
Yes.
He said, save yourself. He did not say, go to your Grand Chief or in Tom, Dick, and Harry, Sally, Jane, or Sue, and ask them to save you. He didn't say that. He said, save yourself. And, you know, in him saying save yourself, it's like the biblical story where or the parable where he said, I think it goes something like, you know, I can give you a fish and you'll eat today, or I can show you how to fish and you will be able to feed yourself.
Yes.
It's the same. That's the same analogy. But people have been so mentally conditioned to have somebody provide them with food that they will sit there and starve, waiting for somebody to bring them some food when that's all they had to do was go around the corner and the food was there waiting for them all along.
Table is prepared. That's right. Where we are.
These things, look, this is the age of Aquarius. This is the age of knowing. There is no longer any excuse for anybody to say, I didn't know. There's no excuse. Because the floodgates of information have opened, and it don't matter where you are on planet Earth, the information has been dropped on you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah. Oh.
It's time. It's past time. This is an exciting place that we're in. And, it can be scary sometimes, but that's all you got to do is read the prophecies and the statements. He done told you, the prophet already done told you what the end game is.
No matter what it looks like.
So your journey is really a breeze because he done already told you what the end game is. Really. Yeah. And everything between now and then is you working on self. Because I'm going to tell you, that lower self, man, that's a monster right there, boy. That lower self, if you don't draw a circle around it and square it up, that lower self will have you walking sideways, boy. That lower self will have you. That lower self will have you denying. Huh?
I said they'll be walking sideways and don't know that they're walking sideways, but other people Because look, the prophet said other people see you more plainly when you don't see yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You will be walking sideways and you won't even realize it. And you know what? And people, even some of the people that are closest to you, they'll come and try and pull your coattail and tell you, and you will brush them aside. Because that lower self, man, that's why we have to work on our lower self, because that's a monster right there. But you had everything to get it in grip. You know, my thing is this, you know, and it's all, I've always been like a control freak, but my control has been about myself. It kind of, my whole journey came about because I just can't stand to know that a foreigner, somebody I don't even know, has control over me to the point where I'm addicted. I don't like that. That's what got me to let go of a lot of things.
Yeah, because you're just admitting you're a control freak. Aha. Now that you've gotten older, I got to tell everybody.
I'm a control freak. But nobody knew.
Well, all mothers should have some. All mothers should have some degree of that, but not freaks though. It's just organization, quite frankly. Let's not dirty it up.
Yeah. But when I use the word, because you know it's just that extreme, and people, you know, you got to recognize your extremes, right? And if it's a good extreme where it's like keeping you in check, then don't be beating yourself up about it. But make sure that is keeping you in check, because you ain't got no business messing around with anybody else but you. Don't be concerned about the splinter in somebody else's eye when you got a log in yours that you ain't even taking care of. Take care of the log in yours.
Well, I'm going to take this opportunity and tell the world that your solar return was not yesterday, the day before. So that's right. Yeah, for all the listeners, October the 2nd.
Happy born day.
Happy born day, happy solar return, happy Earth Day, my Libra sister.
Well, thank you.
Happy born day. You're supposed to have this. You should have had the Stevie Wonder Happy Born Day song uploaded.
Yes. Now, she's so humble. She's so humble. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we should have it uploaded for occasions like this, because we're born in the same month. I mean, mine is 20 more days on the 22nd, so, you know, we got to do something.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to go to a real reservation, American Native Reservation.
Hold up. I feel you, but chill out, man, because everybody will be doing it tomorrow. You gotta make this.
Mess it up. They be saying, "Hey, listen, y'all." They be saying, "Don't even come in no more." People came in walking sideways.
It's just 29.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. That was like going to Ellis Island. It was the most. It was a very, very good experience, Ellis Island. But
it was. I'm so anxious to do that hard hat tour. I'm like, man, and let's set it up that I was talking to. I do, but you know what? And I was like, I do want to go to the Crown, but somebody told me that you have to make reservations to go what do you call it? You have to make a reservation to go in to the Statue of Liberty, and then a further reversation to go to the Crown. The Crown is
in the statue.
Last week I heard that. The last week I heard that the Crown was booked through till November already.
Well. See, you don't have to have a reservation to go into the statue. You definitely have to have a reservation to go up to the Crown. But the reason for that is only so many people can fit in it at one time. So yes,
that's right.
The reservations are months out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely, yes. So before we go any further, I just want everyone to know that we will not, right? We're not going to be at the National Theater near Harlem Corporation at Northwestern Maxim tomorrow, but we will be doing a broadcast tomorrow, and the broadcast will begin at 7:30 p.m. So make sure and come back here tomorrow. Same back channel. Back channel. Hopefully, I'm going to have to check out this number because the number that I call into, it's always the same, so I don't know. And so it's like we got 3 different numbers now, and I'm like, I'm going to have to call them, like I said.
Why don't you check the lines and see if there's more on them, or if it's reporting that, like the impression that you got.
I can't do that right now, but what I can do is I can call the Blog Talk administrator tomorrow because they're already closed tonight.
No, I mean, do you have the program up? Do you have the program up? You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Look and see if there's more lines than what we normally have. And the reason I say that is because
no. Actually,
okay,
no.
Okay,
no.
all right then. It's a redirect on the number then because
but you know what,
it says that
it's interesting because I did see every now and then I'll see 52 calls and I'm like, well, how do we get that many callers? I mean, so maybe that's why. But, maybe that's why. But
well, you know what though? You know what, y'all? I want to share a story with y'all real quick. And I have to because this is just crazy, right? It's real brief. A couple of months ago, I was telling the family about how my brother and I were getting back on great terms and things of that nature. And we're trying to keep it tight. We're trying to keep it consistent. So I'm endeavoring my best to do that. You know what I mean? I really, really am. And we've been doing that, staying in communication. I got to see my nephew play football, you know what I mean, take an L, give him encouragement to get some more wins, all of that. It was a really good vibe. But this is, certain things happen where you just know you're on the right path. Now, I'm going to explain why I know that because, first of all, it's common sense. It's what I'm supposed to do. But number 2, I was going to go down and make my travels this Friday that just passed. And the way it worked out, the way things were going, I didn't. I said, I'm not going to. I'm going to just go tomorrow morning. I'm going to go tomorrow morning and I'll just stay, whatever. But I'm not going to not go because I can't make this particular time. I'll just go the next day very, very early. So I take my journey via the train, Amtrak, smooth ride type of thing, down to so-called Baltimore, or the All the Moors, if you want to say. So I you know what I mean? And I get off the train. I come upstairs to the ground level platform, and as I'm walking past, I see a Fez. As I'm walking past, and the way the benches are, I couldn't see a face. I just saw the Fez. And, being a Moor, I know that headdress. So I had to walk around. I stepped back through the alley, not alley, but it was a gap between the benches. So I'm like, I can't walk past a Moor and not, acknowledge because I'm just on my journey. And it was it was random, you know what I mean? So I come around the bench. And, I see the Moor and the sister with the Moor with the fez on and the sister with a head wrap. And I say, Islam, Moors, I just wanted to salute you because I seen the fez. And the reaction was all love. I'm like, oh, they knew who I was. Guess who I ran into in my journey or my sojourn going to or linking up with my brother? The brother Hassan Gaziel, he calls in just about every single week.
Yeah.
It's his wife. You know what I mean? Now, I know we was all going to link up out Pittsburgh. We didn't make it. But it just was like, wow, to see him and his wife totally didn't know their face or anything, just saw the affairs, could not acknowledge it, and that's what it was. So I was like, wow, that was amazing to just,
timing was perfect. Divine law governs all events.
Divine law governs all events. Because
they recognize you by your voice because he's never seen you. So they recognize you by your distinct voice because, being a Taurus, all Tauruses who may be tuned in
right.
a distinctive voice because they govern the throat. So they recognize the voice from the blog show. And so that was but that being what it is, divine law being in place at all times, divine law governs all events because, as you said, you were leaving on Friday, but you decided to leave on Saturday. You left on Saturday, whatever time you left. It just so happened as soon as you get off the train, you come upstairs, you're walking, waiting for your brother to pick you up, and you see this happen. So it was definitely divine order. It's fine.
It was divine order. You know what I mean? I got to meet him and his wife. So it was a really cool thing, and everything went good. And he actually got to meet me and my brother at the same time. That was really, him and his wife. That was really cool. You know what I mean? To travel and just meet those who consistently show support for what we're doing, and learning from it and sharing it, and all the ameliorations. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. Just a little update. I found that to be kind of interesting. Islam.
Yeah, Islam.
All right.
Yeah.
Islam. Well, let's see. It is 11:46. You got like 45 minutes left to the broadcast. And so if there's anyone who has a question, comment, or concern that they would like to put on the table, press 1 on your telephone dial, and we will take your we'll take your call in the order that they arrive. If not, shoot, should we call it an early night? I mean, we get so few of those.
Well, if you get taking in the information. They're taking notes. Okay, all right, that's what's happening. But I do want to. Well, it's not what we talk about. We're so desensitized now to people getting shot. But we already mentioned that already, and we just gave the history on it. It hasn't changed in that respect, being video camera in this electrifying age of information. We are being simply informed on a wide basis of these things. So we will be doing a broadcast. Oh, well, there you go.
All right, here's caller 510334. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation and North Texas.
Hello. Good evening. I'm undeclared. I don't know anything about how to answer that, but my brother is Anthony Shankle-Bay, and he's the one who introduced me to this information. And we went to Long Beach, and we went in the morning, and then it was the wrong time. And then he was so interested, we caught a plane and came back down to listen to Sabir. So I've been listening to the show. But because I've been so conditioned, to Biblica and all, false religion and Christian and this and that. But I called in to tell you that I enjoyed what the brother Abdul said tonight.
Yes.
And when he was speaking about a lot of people are going to go for the federal notes, and I said, well, I want mines in gold and silver. And I already am in cahoots with my banking system because when I go in, I always ask for gold and silver coins, and they always tell me they don't have any. And I say, well, why not? We just don't. And I said, no, there's going to come a time where those federal notes are no good. So I want to start accumulating my gold and silver. Gold, because that's what's going to speak for me. And I want to be prepared. I don't want to be caught off guard anymore. I'm not asleep anymore. I'm waking up. even if I haven't declared my nationality. You know, it's like slowly but surely the process is coming alive. But because I've been so conditioned, but I got a lot out of what Taj was saying on a couple of those segments or sessions or whatever, however you guys refer to it. Like I said, I'm new. I go on YouTube a lot, and I listen to a lot of the different lectures. And I, too, come from all those different, like Jehovah's Witness, Methodist, Baptist, and all this and that, and just something just didn't click. It didn't click, but this is clicking. But so what I'm trying to say is that for my respiration or restitution, whatever he said, I won't mind the gold and silver.
Well, first of all, Moors who are Aboriginal Indigenous to the land never had to have gold and silver. That was established for the modern Europeans. They were the ones. We can trade in anything we wish to. Anybody can trade in anything they wish to, really. So it wasn't meant for us to have the gold and silver, although gold and silver has a worth or whatever. But that was never meant for us. But the real money is such. And, you know, they put in front of us the Federal Reserve note. It's like putting it in front of the real thing and made us and indoctrinated us to believe that is money, when it is not money. It's a promise to pay. That's what they did, because they're the ones who are supposed to have the gold and silver. All right? I'm glad that you mentioned...
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
And that is, my brother keeps saying, Gloria, if you don't do anything else, declare your nationality. I said, I'm not pledging my allegiance to anything else. I had enough of that being one Jehovah's Witness. I just want to listen, and as I take it in, make my decision. I don't want to make a hasty decision. I want to be fully informed, and that's why I keep studying, and listening for myself. And one of the other things that you guys said tonight was about it can't be just 2 or 3, 4 or 5 people. It has to be a combination of like 500, 5,000, 2,000, 3,000, on and on and on. And that's why the lines were so full, because I usually call in at 6:15 to get in, and I couldn't get in. They had some other number. I said, what is this? I hung up, and I called again and gave another number. But
you should have called that other number. That other number is what they have given out, and we're on that ourselves. So they were going to be changing the number, and there's a possibility of that. So when they say call this number, when you called it, it would have gotten you in. Yeah.
So I have to study more to find out what my abolition is, and because all I know is I was born in San Francisco, California, that my parents originated from Texas, and I just was looking at my father's obituary, and it said that he was Asiatic. He was a member of the Asiatic Theater, and he got good medals and honors from that. And so I told my brother tonight, and I said, you know what? I said, Dad must have been aware about the Moors, because he was part of Asiatic. And I keep hearing that name that you guys mentioned. So I got brave enough to call in and push one, because the show was really, very, very, very outstanding. And I got a lot, to process into my heart. It's going into my heart. And then another thing, I'm being challenged about living up to my higher self. And I'm being challenged to say that, that's cult talk. Where did you get that from? Because I want to live to my higher self. And like you said, living to your lower self, it gets you to the left. Slide all the way to the left.
Yes.
And I ain't trying to go sideways no more. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to live to my lower self. But people are challenging me. So that's why I got so much out of what Taj was saying. When people should be accepting you and embracing you for your information, it's like you're being ostracized for it.
Yes, because the people are mentally, they're afraid also because they haven't been taught. But one of the things from the very beginning, when you came on, and I did hear you mention something about religions and stuff. I just want to say this, and then I also heard you say I don't want to pledge any allegiance. Well, you're going, the thing is that you're not necessarily pledging allegiance to anyone or any type of one or whatever, except for to your own lineal descendancy, which in time you will learn, what that is and who that is, and that emphatically, no doubt, we are Moors, first navigators. We are definitely Moors. Now, as far as religion goes, I kind of heard that mentioned, and I thought maybe you were talking about your allegiance and your religion. Well, religion means re-allegiance. Religion means to realign yourself, to re-allegiance yourself, okay? Now, one of the things they did is they separated us by us thinking it's a religious choice. It's all one. And I'm saying this because I just had to email someone and explain this to them. They said that they're going to make a choice. Well, as your brother told you, if you don't do anything else, declare, which means to be clear. It has nothing to do with paperwork. It really doesn't, for you to be clear. It's not really about making an allegiance other than to your own family, recognizing your own, who you are and your status, which means your relationship to the community. But it's not a mere relationship. It is a legal one. So I want to just give this food for thought for you for a second, because we kind of broke it down today with this other person. I said, when they brought in Christianity, which was a version of being crystal clear and pure, which we all strive for, but when they brought that in, it is the religion that was for the modern Europeans or the Slavics. It was for their earthly salvation because they were slaves from the door. Now, when you really think about it, they're going to tell you to accept their version of what they call Jesus, which is your Yahshua, right? Who is your sister's, your family's son that you already know. So when you think about, right, and so now you're going, okay, what is their purposes and intent? So then you go and you look at the Intercatera Divina, which means divine intent. This is their intent, not yours. And that is that you accept their version of your sister's son that you already know, your family member, who is a Canaanite Moabite blood, which is in the Bible or the scriptures, all right, who has hair of lamb's wood and feet of bronze, which is also written in that book, the scriptures. And if you don't accept their version about your family, their intent is to murder you. So I just wanted to leave that with you.
That's what I'm facing. That's what I'm facing because that's what I said. I am a Moorish American, and I'm from the Moabite tribe from roots.
Right.
That's what I say. And people are looking at me, like I said, when my brother introduced me to it, I said, people are looking at you like you cray-cray. Now they're looking at me like I'm cray-cray. And challenging me. Where are you getting this information? This is cult information. But yet still, they're not looking at their part in their behavior. They're the one who are asleep, far as I'm concerned. And I've just been knowing this for just a year. But it seems like to me they should be embracing me, but they're not embracing me. They're ostracizing me.
Well, listen. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who was very professed in this entire subject matter, said to encourage you. He said, if you're the only one, just be the only one. Because if you're with a group of Moors who aren't acting right, leave them and go to another group. Because you want to do what we call building or what they call fellowshipping. But if you have to be the only one, just the Bible, the Bibliotheliatek, the ancient scripture says that the road is narrow. Why is it narrow? Because not many are on it. So, if you can't, now here's the rule you go by. If you can't convince them they're not Negro, colored, and black, keep it moving. Because that's the first degree in order for them to even begin to receive this information. It's gone.
Okay. Thank you.
Islam. All right.
Islam. I know that much. Peace and blessings.
All right. Peace and love. All right, we got one more caller 804-921. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Maxim.
Islam. This is Azad Afron Bey, calling from Northwest Africa, Mexico.
All right.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes. But I do have a question, and I wanted to make a statement. I do my research. I ran across some information that was just basically I was looking into Article 3 court, and I ran across some information, and I guess so I could be clear. The way they were saying that the only Article 3 court was near the Pennsylvania.
All of them
Pennsylvania.
Well, it don't matter. That means that it's the only one that was established prior to walking out in Senadia, but they're all corrupt right now because of the people who are sitting in those seats. And really, But yes, that's the reason they say that, is because it was established before Senadia, and Senadia is when we Moors walked out of Congress and left it without another date to convene, which is also why we tell people no new laws have been established, because non-Europeans can't establish them. States can't make them. It's right in the Constitution. And the process in which they are made, laws, is also in there, and no law can ever be made, even if it is vetoed by the Congress and the Senate and all that. Even if it is vetoed, even if they do veto the president, so-called president that didn't want to pass it, none of that can go down, because nothing can happen when Congress is in Senadia. And it's been in Senadia since, 61. 61. So there. Right.
Okay, and what I was doing is I was reading over the information that you all had on RB Bay, about the Family Services Administration and you. Yeah. And like I said, I have a partner, another noble brother, and he's constantly going back and forth, and I know he's going through it because he's in that season to learn from a lot of the stuff. But I know that there's certain things that he has to do as well as with myself, because some of the things that he's going through, as far as in his lower self, I know that we all have to go through it. Like I said, especially getting to the point, mine being, dealing with the family court, and him as well. He actually went yesterday, and he sent the information in, and I was explaining to him about the call, because I'm always listening in, and like you all said, we have to study, and don't just study when it's convenient for you. But like I said, going over the information, he like I said, he sent all the information in, but I told him, I said, you have to become what is called a good actor, because if we don't know how to be good actors, knowing that we know the information, but we have to be able to relay the information in a like you all, like it says in the paperwork here, we have to be able to speak in an intelligent tone, and not, let them kind of walk all over, so he kind of let that happen. I wasn't able to be there with him, but like I told him, I said, we do have to become good actors, and
that's what they're doing. They're acting their behinds off, pretending to be something that they're not. They're acting. I just got to ask you this. You said family court. Is this about child support issues?
Child support, yes.
Child support payments? Oh, yeah, that he should be able to get out of that easy, but not by arguing with them. But then again, I don't know what the condition is with his children, what the mother of his children. We know that anytime, if the mother is not conscious, she's going to always try to, put them in that situation, which is wrong for mothers to do, because the family courts are not family. and they're not our family, and they're taking the children and having jurisdiction over them, and the mother is allowing it because she's chasing after $1. You know what I mean? When the agreement should be between a grown parent of a child as to the welfare of the child, and that's in the rights of indigenous people as well. And that's what we have to start acting on, and we need to grow up, and we will, because we're all, what you're talking about as well is that we are all being forced to make those changes.
You know, so it's going in, listening to the information, it was just saying that we must be heard at the Supreme Court level. And what's going on right now, like I said, Article 3 of the Constitution, you know, one of the biggest things is just having an understanding of where will be a proper venue, because getting the knowledge, you know, and actually being able to relay it, being able to use it, not in a right now situation, but be able to relay that to others, because I'm kind of like the other caller. Like I said, I sit back and I talk to family members and stuff like that, and everybody looking at me like my wife's mom, you know, she's looking at me like, you're the only person I ever heard say that. I said, wow. I mean, because it goes back to, like the brother, someone posted on Facebook, the temple was supposed to make sure that all this stuff was taken care of, but now I see, you know, individuals like yourselves, you know, who have to step up and be what these people have not been, and then they want to ridicule, you know, RV Bay because they're putting out information.
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
It is. It is crazy.
Yeah.
You're right. But see, they got it infiltrated a long time ago. Oh, go ahead, man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I was about to say most of them are they're not really about what Noble Drew Ali is about, what he was about. So, you know, you can expect to when you see more standing up for national principles, like, you know, in Moorish nationality, like when you got people who saying let's naturalize, like we're not Aboriginal Indigenous among many other people, you can see why they're trying to, you know, ridicule us. And at the same time, that doesn't make their position right. You know what I mean? But to get this off, because they go on platforms where we're not really dealing with that. You know what I mean? But I'm saying that the people are seeing them for what they are, regardless. Yep. You know what I mean? So, I mean, every time they open their mouth, it's like they just show for those who know. You know what I mean? And it's sad for those who don't. You know, we trust that it's enough information you can find your way and weed out. But how many people always contact and say something was funny about that temple, or Moors are saying they wasn't even allowed in the temple, so they can't tell me about having, you know, a love or open arms for the people when they're saying, you know, you can't even come in. You didn't get invited. This is supposed to be a public, you know, body, like, you know what I mean? But I'm not even going to get started on that. I'm just saying you can tell.
Because I wanted to chime in last time, but something happened with the phone and it died out, because you all were talking about the naturalization, you know, versus you know, being nationalized. And you know, I ran across this article and it was talking about the story of Superman and Supergirl can teach you young Mobs and Mobites about nationality. And they talked about the Moorish 101. Something got a little fuzzy with this thing, because as I was going over it, it started talking about being naturalized. And I was like, hold on, you know, this is not making sense to me. You know, because
I said the infiltration. Go ahead.
Yeah, so as I was reading over the article, you know, like I said, a lot of it's making sense about Supergirl, and they started going over the information of who Superman's father was and who Supergirl's father was. That was her uncle, but they all had the L, the L last appellation.
Yeah.
And then it says it right here. It says the L does not want to be a United States citizen, better yet, a 14th Amendment citizen under the foreign jurisdiction. Then he needed to proclaim his Moorish nationality, which he had symbolized, symbolic of then right. So then it started talking about the straw man. But like I said, it got a little fuzzy because I got down to part where they started talking about Article 1, Section 8, Clause 4 of the Constitution. It says before any 14th Amendment or before any Naturalization Act. So we are not dealing with those. Let's see what the Naturalization and Nationality says in the Black Law Dictionary. And it started talking about, I was like, hold on. This is the way they was explaining. Like I said, I could read it, but the way they started explaining, I said, hold on, I had to stop. Because I think Anna Eve said it one time. She was like, when you're reading something and it just doesn't hit with your spirit, you're like, hold on, this is not making sense. This is not making sense.
I think what you're saying is their problem is that even though they say they're in the temple, they have not read Chapter 47 to understand the geographical boundaries, which really makes them look really incompetent. That's why we tell people to, study for themselves and see. But one of the things is, as we said earlier, too many people have been indoctrinated to actually believe that this land, that when the prophet says you'll gain back your heritage and lost state in a conflict that can't be told in words, too many of them actually believe that this belongs to foreigners, immigrants, without realizing that, right. And they come with all of that, they try to understand. Now, I don't even think they try to understand it because it's so simple. They come from that perspective, period, and they can't come off of it. So where you were getting to, it's like the truth and falsehood is strangely mixed. They're mixing apples with oranges and bananas and stuff because they're really not very studied. They have not studied to show themselves approved, or they're infiltrators, and neither one of them is good, and neither one of that is qualified to be anybody's guide, leader, grand sheik, assistant grand sheik, none of that. They're just not. I mean, they just prove that they're on a whole other different mission, definitely not on the one that the prophet was on. And it's just so simple. But the problem is that the people are also indoctrinated to look for somebody to lead them instead of guide them or share with them and let them unfold by showing themselves approved. And that's the problem. So they'll listen to what you're talking about, but someone like yourself, you automatically feel something's not quite right with this.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's just so crazy because, like I said, I don't want to, I don't want to skip around. Say it again.
I said it's all convoluted the way they try to explain it.
Yeah, and that's I think that is a lot of I would say younger Moors where just coming into the information where we want to be active because we hear be active, not passive, be active, and when you're out and about and you're being active, and people, because they're so used to the old you that they're like, who is this? You something's not right with you. And then you're looking at them saying, no, something's not right with you. If you don't believe or even want to hear what I have to say, because I got this post. I got this post from book, and I printed it out, and I carry it around in my wallet because it's a picture of DMX, and what it says on the picture. Let me get it. It's so crazy because it says where is it at? Oh, it says right. It says a lot of people. It has DMX looking like giving a serious face, and it says a lot of people will call you crazy and refuse to look at anything you say as if you are the one that's been lying to them their entire lives. That's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy because that's true. People look at you like you're crazy. But like I said, my question was farther than the young brother because, like I said, at some point I'm not calling this into existence, but I know, I myself, I deal with the court system, especially on the child support side. I haven't dealt with in a while, but I'm getting myself geared up, just in case something was to happen. But like I was explaining to him, he has to appeal out of that, quasi-national court, and it's not easy. It's not easy when we go at it by ourselves. And I know he needs help, but at the same time, it's like you all say all the time, you got to study, and sometimes that does get exhausting and kind of make you want to throw in the towel, because that's what he did. As I listened to him talk, the judge said, if you don't tell me where you're working at, then we're going to lock you up. And I said, well, was the judge at that point? Because I think it was Cujo. Cujo put a video out, and it was a brother, well, it was a Caucasian gentleman or a co-Asian who was out, and he said he was giving some instructions. That's when he said, you got to become a good actor. So the brother, by them intimidating him, I said, well, did you ask the judge, did you ask him, was he acting as the prosecutor? Because that's what the judge was doing. He went from his position to being a prosecutor. So he's acting pretty much unlawful.
And you know what else he could have said? I mean, they're all acting anyway, but yeah, because any judge's order, if it's a judge's order, must be in written form. Why? To give you an opportunity to rebut it. So you can say, was that an order? May I see it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that means that he has to write it, and then you get the opportunity to rebut it. But they're so used to barking at us, and we don't know what to say next. But see, if he, that's threat, duress, and coercion too.
Because like you just said, him barking and saying different stuff. If he sent in all the proper information and they're not honoring it and they're not answering the question, I understand that the court or the administration should not be moving forward until these questions are answered, because
Correct.
You all asked me to come into your establishment. So like I said, reading over a lot of information, it's a lot. It's tedious, and I think it's all about.
It's the spirit of law, because there's so many ways to skin the cat that it's hard to say to someone, do it this way when they could do it that way. But all of it is based in law. There's so many things, and then the spirit of law has to be riding with that person. They have to speak in an intelligent tone, and they have to take up, and it always says it, choose a strategy to deal with these actors. He could have put a writ in before even appearing. That would be written in such a way that they don't even want him to come in.
I guess that's part. Yeah, that's a part of learning.
But a lot of people, they want to go so they can bark at them, and then it becomes unnecessary sparring. You know what I mean? And then it's so many ways of getting cut. So once the spirit of law is with you, then when you write whatever you write, that's why it's called spelling. You cast a spell. When they open it up and read it, it puts a certain thing on them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why nobody can write your writ. That's why nobody can cast your spell for you. You have to do it yourself.
And it's like Anna said last week. Pretty much, they're finding new strategies and new ways, to maneuver. So we really have to stay on our P's and Q's. We have to stay on our P's and Q's, and it is. Like I said today, it's frustrating because once you come into this knowledge or this information, it's no way And that's why I don't have no understanding, no tolerance for a temple or anyone who's had knowledge and they did not want to share it. Prime example, I ran into a brother from the Mason. He was saying, well, I've been studying up on the Moors and this and that and blah blah blah. And he said, what happened, after 1492? And I said, well, if you've been studying, you have some information, what happened after 1492. So he started talking about, well, how do you all get finances? And I was like, brother, I said, are you thinking from a Western way of thinking? I mean, what not even a Western way of thinking is a European way of thinking or a modern European way of thinking. And people, like the lady earlier, people will test you just to see how much you know. Just to see how much you know.
And that's what they do in those so-called meeting rooms that they call courts. They test you too. But yeah, you're right. People will test you, but you gotta pick your battles and know that even though they test you and try to throw you off your square, even our own people are the ones that are the absolute worst on their own people. Absolute worst. They are. They are. But you got to leave them behind. You got to leave them where you found them.
Yeah. Like I said, I've seen this brother go through so much. Like I said, every time I come on, I'm always sharing, his experiences, because he's been through pretty much the ringer with this. Going
they
through
have fun
the
with
different.
it too. They have fun.
Oh,
with
they are.
Yeah, they're just
well, first of all, Islam, let me just clarify something, because you see, you're looking at this brother's experiences and you're saying, oh my God, he's been through the ringer. But really, everything there, we have to keep in mind, we a lot of times we totally miss the science. All right, there is no errors, there are no mistakes. Everything that is happening in divine order. So to you, it might appear as though he's going through the ringer, but in reality, it could be that the universe is trying to teach him a lesson. He just ain't listening, or he's being prepared for something, because there are no mistakes and nothing. Right, and nothing comes that you didn't put into action. Nothing. So there's no surprise. Really, there's no. We're an interesting people, or I should say, an interesting energy, because we put things in motion and then forget that we forgot that we put things in motion. I mean, this modern European thinking that's going on, and everything is designed for each and every one of us individually to wake up. And what I find is that people get into challenges because they have work to do on themselves, but they so busy trying to wake up other people when that's not their job. That's not their job. Nobody is here to wake up anybody. The call is always going out, and if it's time for you to hear it, you will hear it.
Yeah, that's true.
Other than that, everybody really needs to pay attention to what the prophet said. He said, I gave you enough to save a nation. Now save yourself. I think I say this with every broadcast, and every broadcast people come on, and this ain't Anna E speaking, this is a prophet. This is who gave it to us for us to follow. And people still ain't following what he's saying. He said, save yourself. He didn't say go out there and save, other people. He said save yourself, because there is a science that is greater than you going on. And the majority of people don't even get it. But if you would save yourself, begin to save yourself, because that's a lifetime journey, saving yourself. Maybe along the way you will realize why you saving yourself does, in fact, help everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Mm.
So with that, let me think, where are we now with our time? It is like...
So, you know what, that, I just got to say this, though, and this also, it goes in conjunction with people saying, oh, well, you know, that stuff didn't work for me, and then they're mad at RB Bay Publications. What are you mad at us for? We're giving you the information to apply in whatever your journey is, whatever your sojourn is, you know, and that goes hand in hand. Like you said, it's a different thing. It's a universal thing. And or they're mad because, you know, we didn't go to court with them or something like that. That's not what we were here for. So anyway, I just wanted to move on with that. I wanted to add that because I recently heard that.
This journey that each and every one of us is on, it is similar, is very similar to everybody's fear of solitary confinement. Everybody is absolutely terrified of being in solitary confinement, meaning you have no TV, no music, nobody else to talk to. It's just you and your mind. And, you know, and people are, everybody is so terrified of that, and that's why that is the single most effective weapon against people. And see, the challenge here is that if you would go through that particular lesson, you will find that it frees you, but you don't realize the freedom until you get to the other side of that particular lesson. But most people never make it to the lesson because they be kicking and screaming not to get to that solitary confinement, but it is in solitude that you are free.
No, you're not saying that anybody should be locked up in solitude. You're just saying that. Because solitary confinement has nothing to do with four walls. That's right.
Well, you know, in saying that, I know the show's about to end. In saying that, you know, I was talking to a family member, a cousin, and she was just sharing something that she went through, and she hasn't been through any of this science or even have a understanding or understanding for it. So we was just going over, and she said that she thinks that every father and I was like, well, I wasn't particularly talking about fathers, but every father that doesn't pay his child support should be locked up. And I said, what is that going to do? What is that going to actually do if they're locked up?
Well,
they're not going to get their money.
But here's the thing: what that person just demonstrated and told to you is that they are suffering under mental enslavement because and gross lack of information. Okay, gross lack of information. Because here's the thing: the case law. There's a case law out there that actually states that child support and everything that goes with it is absolutely unlawful and unconstitutional because it's a civil action. But most people are never involved in the civil action. It's a civil action along the line of debt collector, but nobody knows who the debtor is. All right, and I can bet you're in family court, and there is no provisions for a family court in the American Constitution. But here's the thing, and we might go out with this. Look, the prophet said that everybody's going to be forced to make